So, how does Knicks Fan TV? How does that get born? You know?
Yeah. So along that time when I was like in my career, the team wasn't good. Between 2000 to say 2017.
Yeah.
I mean, it was dark times.
We had a blip. We had the mellow year. What was it?
Yeah, you did.
12.
You did.
Right? We had a year.
Mellow year.
Because even I jumped on at that point. I was like,
It was all hype. That's what I'm talking. It was all hype.
Hype.
It was all hype. The
Yeah.
team. There was no substance behind that hype.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, if he had just waited 6 more months, man,
Yeah.
we would have had a team behind them. But he gutted it too much. I mean, look, he wanted to get out of Denver. He made the right decision. That was for him. But
Yeah.
I knew at that point because I was an adult. The team was hype. There was nothing behind that team except for the Amari Stoudemire bad knees. We gave him 5 years with the doctor
Right.
said he only has 2 left. I was like, why would you do that?
Terrible.
But anyway, so for basically 20 years, the team was almost bad.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
They were terrible, man. But like while I was, along my career path, I always had passions of just side hustles and just the entrepreneur's journey was always appealing to me. I did everything, man. I was selling shoes, I was selling sneaker accessories. I was starting to think about, doing my own cyber consulting practice, like a little bit of everything. But they were all short-lived. I was in it for the wrong reasons. I was just in it to make extra money, but the passion really wasn't behind it. But the passion was always there for sports. And when I was on YouTube randomly one time and I saw the English Premier League, there was a channel, Arsenal Fan TV. Oh. And I saw where the host, black dude, Jamaican guy like myself, or Jamaican heritage, where he was out after the games interviewing the fans, and you saw the passion of that fan base coming out. And those clips would go viral, and I just saw a different type of consumption for sports content. And so I thought for myself, I said, this is New York. Like, we are, when it comes to sports fandom and passion, like, there's no bigger city or market than this. I'm like, why don't we have this? And you're looking at the national media coverage, and there's nothing on the Knicks. It's just, what's the latest Dolan scandal? What's the latest name that they're after?
Yeah.
But there was nothing in the in-between. You look at the local coverage, it's okay, Knicks won the game, here's why they won, and here's the Westminster Dog Show after.
It's true. That is true.
There was nothing.
It's true.
For the diehard, I'm like, people are forgetting about us. Right. Even local radio, like, because the team wasn't good, it's not good business to do a whole hour segment on the team.
Yeah.
But I realized that still underneath, we're still alive. We're still there. Those fans that were like me from the 90s, they were still there. And so that's why I wanted to kind of create that content for those fans, for the fans like me that still want to tap in on the day-to-day aspects of the team.
Yeah, I remember like going through, like similar to you, I started following the Knicks in 98, and then they were terrible after, 02, 03, they were bad for the majority, until basically Julius got here. And I remember my friends always clowning me, why are you following this team? And I said, when the glory day comes, I don't want anybody to call me a bandwagon fan, and this is my team. I'm rocking with them to my last breath, because I know when we are at the top of the mountain, it's going to be worth all the wait for that team to have gotten to that point. But again, so you saw there was a gap in the market, and you just didn't take into any account that the team was 17-65 when you dropped that first episode, man.
Nope.
That must have been a tough time. What were you talking about at that time? Because I went to some of your earlier videos. I was like, wow. CP's pulling it from the hat right now. What are you talking about?
That's always a joke, especially when we hit like different milestones in the recent years. It's like, what were we talking about in them dark times? But, those days we would have 50 people watching, maybe 100 on a good day. But the goal was always, because I grew up on that sports radio generation, Mike and the Mad Dog was my thing.
Right.
And to me, they were the originators of the whole thing. Like every talking head or debate show you see now came from them. So I always give them their flowers, and I always wanted to recreate that because I know that there's fans out there like you, like people all over the world that still want to talk. Yeah. Even if 1765, they still want to dream. They still want to have hope. Okay, who's the next guy in the draft? Who's the next draft pick that we're going to fumble on, or the next free agent that we're going to fumble on? People still wanted to talk about it. So I just stuck true to that. And I said, look, I'm going to keep it consistent. This is going to be the one side hustle that I'm not going to bail on because this is my passion at the end of the day.
Now, question, has it been hard to stay loyal as a Knicks fan when you'll have everything outside of just the team, affecting the Knicks? You have management making certain moves or things like that, and you're like, should I still be a fan,
It never
It never swayed you.
Never.
He's asking because he hates the,
Yes,
he hates
that's
it.
right.
You know, that's why he's
You
basically
think like me is what he's really asking. Right?
I don't care what Dolan does. I don't care
Yeah.
I don't care about any of that political stuff. I care about what's happening in the court.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
The 94 feet that's within those lines, that's what I stay loyal to. Whatever's
Yeah.
happening outside of management, we have no control over that, right? Like all we can do is report, at least you me observe, you report on what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not, it shouldn't affect your fandom for the team. But I know
it's
that
just-
you a little washed. You know,
It's just naturally like there's just no connection. Like I could easily root for Golden State or root for the Heat when they were, or root for the Lakers, but there's just no. It didn't grab me to root for those teams. There's just no connection there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you started the platform, what was the initial vision? Obviously, you know, you set up the platform, you set up your page. What were you thinking if you could put yourself back in those shoes? What did you want? What were your initial goals? How were you gonna, you know, grow this? Was it just, hey, I'm gonna talk about the Knicks, however many people are willing to listen to me, that's cool.
Yeah.
But what were some of your initial goals and thoughts?
Yeah, it was always, well, Post Game Live is the flagship show, and it was always to build that show where after the game we could all come together. I'm gonna give my thoughts on it, but I want to hear from you. So I was always trying to figure out, especially on the technical side, because I had no background in this, no media training, no nothing. What do I need to do to establish this show where I could have people actually calling in?
Right.
So in the early days, I used to have people calling a phone number, have my phone connected, like, yo, call this number and do this, you know. So it had to evolve, but that was the initial vision, was to build that post-game show, have the callers call in, let's debate, let's fight about it with respect.
Right.
And then we're going to put it out there for the fans to enjoy.
Just as a side note, my two favorite times to tune in, I tune into every post-game show, is one when we win, when we get a great win, you see all the fans getting crazy, and one's when we have bad losses because this guy gets aggy.
Yeah, right.
Don't come with none of the fugazi stuff on the show. He's gonna shut you off, call you dumb, and keep it moving. So, but that it's always like so entertaining to me to see how you deal with people who just come in with like nonsense. Sometimes it's fine if we have a bad loss and we have like, you know, you can have a nice intellectual debate about the team. But I'm just so great that you don't I'm so thankful for you that you don't entertain any of that BS, man. I really, because there's no room for that. I mean, sometimes there is. Sometimes it's funny.
Yeah.
Like that girl who called in and said, put him in the trunk.
Right. And that went viral. That turned into a viral sensation, man.
Sometimes it's good.